Hey now, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of IoT Nuggets with IoT Group. I'm Doug Cohen from M10 Social. I've got my illustrious co-host, Mr. Steve Brummer, with me as always from IoT Group.
Yay! You can't fire me. I'm still not fired.
He's the man. We would never want to do that. And also joining us today is Mr. Mike Goettemoeller from Berkery Noyes in New York. They're an investment bank. Mike, thanks for joining.
Thank you, Doug.
And, we chatted a little bit right before we started, and look at this. Mike is a Buckeye in New York. I'm a Wolverine here in Michigan, and we can still interact and enjoy.
Not each other yet.
We can be civil.
Okay, you guys are done. Okay, you're done.
But thanks for joining. Once again, IoT Group is the website for IoTgroup.com, if I could spit that out. And you can also join them on, Steve's pointing there to the website. I usually can't figure out which way to go. But you can connect with them on LinkedIn as well as YouTube to see all the rest of these IoT nuggets. And with that being said, today we're going to talk about Berkery Noyes and
Awesome.
what makes Berkery Noyes positioned so well to play in the IoT space as an investment bank. And I'm going to pass it on over to Steve and Mike, and the two of you can take it away.
Great. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it. Michael, thanks for joining us. It's a great opportunity for you to be here. So tell us a little bit about the company and what you're doing.
Yeah, sure. Berkery Noyes, we're an investment bank focused on M&A and capital raises. 90% of our deals are private company capital raises or sell-side M&A. We've been around for 35 years. We've got 10 managing directors. We focus solely on tech and tech-enabled services. Our sole office is here in New York City. And really, I spent a lot of time in IoT. I just closed a deal in Endpoint cybersecurity business. I'm in the market right now with IoT Edge business, Edge computing company focused on security applications. And then, we're taking to market a telematics business. We just took it to market yesterday. So the market's hot.
Yeah. Well, yes, it's frothy. That's what we're hearing. So how has, from an investment banking situation, looking at IoT today, pre and post COVID and the pandemic, are you seeing significant differences right now in the marketplace? I mean, there is a lot of money on the street.
I think there's more appetite today than what there was before. And I think COVID has actually accelerated the adoption rate. So if you think of the supply chain in general, right, it's not just, with disruptions or whatever, and think of the vaccine, for instance, it's not just, it's tracking things from point A to point B, but it's also monitoring, right? So temperature or whatever it is. So a lot of those things are becoming more and more important, and remote monitoring, right? Or security applications. So I think you're seeing an uptick in activity and interest in IoT in general. And I think the adoption has increased, even if it could increase more than what was before, right? Just given the fact that people aren't around. So, and private equities, traditional private equity is getting involved more now relative to venture capital, growth equity. So if you look at Orbcom being taken private, right, by GI Partners, right? Yeah. So traditional private equity at very frothy valuations, right? 20 times EBITDA plus, and 4.5 times revenue almost. So you're seeing a lot of appetite, and I think it's partly to do with private equity as well. People that invested in sectors that were hurt or crushed during the pandemic are now looking to other areas to put money to work, capital, right? They have to return it. So there's a lot of cash floating around from private equity perspective. Corporates, tech companies did well during COVID for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Actually, some either maintained or did better. So they're cash rich, and there's a lot of money floating around. So there's a lot of appetite, and it's made a frothy market.
So in our IoT industry, in our space, what gets you excited? You're doing security, you're doing asset tracking, You're doing fleet, you're doing all kinds of deals. What are you seeing that's really exciting to you, and something you see as a long-term, huge opportunity?
Yeah, listen, I think it's the vertical applications, right? So if you look at and companies like ShotSpotter, for instance, Mixed Telematics, right? Those guys are interesting, as well as you have all these billions of devices out there, connected devices. How do I actually take actionable insights out of that? So you look at companies like Pixie, right, and Splunk, for instance, right? That are taking the data, aggregating it, and putting it in a form that can actually make insights from, versus just, hey, I've got a dot on a screen or whatever it is, or something that's going on a graph, but no real, someone needs to sit there and monitor it. So I think those companies are interesting, and as well as, besides the application side, on the actual hardware side. So I've spoken to a lot of startup companies or businesses that are focused on battery life. So a lot of the devices, at the end of the day, when the battery dies, the device is stowaway, right? So there are companies developing applications or technologies that are charging the battery from temperature fluctuations across a plane, right? Humidity fluctuations, vibration, right? So I think those are exciting things to literally make some of these devices last 10 plus years, is the goal of some of these companies.
So how do people get in touch with you? And, from an investment banking scenario, how do people work with you? I mean, you do consulting scenarios with them to evaluate whether they're primed for an IB to help them get funded?
Yeah, depending on what they're looking to do. So I don't dabble in venture capital, just to be clear, right? So I'm true growth equity. So once you've gotten a proven kind of product and it's marketable, you've got some revenue tied to it. That's where I can come into play to help you out, but not the venture capital guy. Venture capital sees a banker come along and they run the other way. So true growth equity, or if you're looking to exit your business and potentially find a buyer, that's where I can come into play and help you. So we would run an auction process for you and get you the best outcome, right? Whether it's growth equity or M&A, to kind of have competition and get you the best value that you're looking for.
Doug, I'm going to go over a little bit because Mike brought up a question I had. So you said something about recurring revenue. We got companies that are doing a lot more recurring revenue in hardware, or there's some kind of balance there. What are you seeing is the most strategically important aspect of a company that's coming to you, as far as valuations are concerned?
Yeah, you nailed it. Subscription revenue, right? So it's the recurring revenue, whatever that looks like. So if it's monthly, if it's annual, and retention rates. So if it's not perpetual license, right? So no investor wants a license that you give away once. You get a one-time charge and they go away. It's for life, right?
Right.
And maybe you have support against it. But if you can develop a business model where you have it could be hardware too, where you literally rent out the hardware for a period of time, whatever that is, subscription revenue is key relative to just a one-time sale.
Excellent. Well, Michael, thank you very much for being on the IoT Nuggets segment. John and I have a great relationship with you guys, and we love working with you and referring companies over to you. Very impressed with the portfolio of companies that you guys have taken to market already. So anybody that's out there, pick up the phone, call John or I. We'll refer you over to Michael and his team if you're interested in looking at PE money and going the next step. So again, Mike, thank you so much for joining today.
Thanks for having me, Steve, and I appreciate it.
All right, Doug, back to you.
Well, thanks a lot, Mike. I thought that was very, very interesting to hear somebody from the investment bank space to know IoT inside and out and be able to recognize what business plans look like they're going to be winners, and to really have kind of your finger on the pulse of what's going on in IoT. It's pretty neat for me to hear that perspective. It's a different one than we've had on the Nuggets in the past, and to hear somebody that really has a full understanding of what's going on in IoT gives you a pretty strong position in that niche, I would think. Just listening to it as an outsider. So that was very cool. So thanks for joining. And everybody you can reach, as Steve said, you can actually go to BerkeryNoyes.com. You can also go to BHIOTGroup.com and make sure to connect with BHIOT Group on LinkedIn and YouTube, and you can watch some of the rest of these nuggets. They're all out there, and we appreciate you all joining us today for this episode. Be sure to keep following and be here or be square. Be there or be square for the next IoT Nugget. So thank you, gentlemen.
This is where the app living comes into play, everybody.
Absolutely. So, all right. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
All right. Have a